Delilah's playing the long game. And now she's an empress. How many of your own subjects are you ready to slaughter? And what are you willing to become?
Take it! Oh, shit!
That was the trailer for Dishonored 2, the sequel to Arcane Studios' sleeper hit and one of my favorite games of all time. I think Dishonored 2 is the perfect sequel in just about every regard. I often struggle to decide which of these is even my favorite, as they're both so perfect to me. And truth is, I love them both, man. This video is not about comparing the two, and I'm not going to give this game an arbitrary score out of 10. These videos are simply to spread my love for Dishonored, and I can't wait to talk about this goddamn game. Dishonored 2 released 4 years after the first one to mixed reception from the audience, mostly because it was basically unplayable for PC players. But they patched it, and ever since then some players just haven't liked it the same. The Metacritic score is still extremely respectable, but clearly lower than the first one. Personally, I enjoyed this game, and I think I've spent the most time with it out of the two. That's why if asked, I'd probably say it's my favorite of the two, even though my opinion switches a lot. Also, I completely forgot to mention this in my last video, and I felt really fucking bad about this, but before we begin, some of the footage in this video is borrowed from StealthGamerBR, but his channel will be linked below. I highly recommend his stuff, it's insane. Have you seen what this man can do? Jesus Christ.
Delilah's playing the long game. And now she's an empress.
The story of Dishonored 2 is, well, it's an interesting one. I honestly kinda like this story. I know a lot of people don't for understandable reasons. If you didn't play the last game's DLC or you don't have a semi-decent understanding of the lore, this story's gonna be confusing as fuck. Because the average player who didn't play the first game's DLC is going to be surprised by the sudden introduction of things like Delilah or the witches as a whole fucking premise. Now that's not to say either of those are bad. Delilah is a more memorable villain than that one asshole in the first game. We don't see her often, but when we do, she's very threatening and interesting. And she always demonstrates her unholy powers. At the beginning of the game, you're faced with a choice of who you want to play as, the classic Corvo Ortano, now middle-aged and suddenly verbal again, or you can play his daughter Emily, the Empress of Dunwall, who's just getting started. Once you choose one, the other one will be turned to stone immediately, and then you have to spend the rest of the game trying to save them. You can be either of them, and the story plays out relatively the same, but this is primarily Emily's narrative, so I'd recommend playing as her in your first playthrough. You have to explore Dunwall completely powerless for the first level, and it's really effective. You have to watch as your home is ravaged by the Duke of Karnaka's men, and this makes you so angry. So you find this random fucking boat and team up with this girl named Megan. Her name is really Billy, but shh, that's a secret! And together you two travel to Karnaka and get the revenge you so desperately desire. This game takes place in a completely different city than Dunwall, thank God, this time called Karnaka. It's the home of Corvo Ortano, and it's somehow almost as shitty as Dunwall. Notice how I said almost. Yeah, this place is gross and shitty, but fucking Dunwall is Dunwall, okay? Dunwall is like Gotham, but on crack. I'm sure the inhabitants of Gotham are also probably on crack, so I don't know how that analogy makes any sense. Here's an easy comparison. Would you rather have rats or blood flies? Actually, that's a really bad fucking comparison. I think anyone would choose rats over these disgusting creatures, so 1 point to Dunwall, I guess. Karnaka has its own problems separate to Dunwall. It has these unique creatures that create these weird infected people who are kind of like the plague victims in the first game, except way stronger and way scarier. It also has different gangs, which is a real shame because I never got tired of killing those hatters. God damn, those guys sucked. That's what you get for going around calling yourself the fucking hatters. So basically you travel to Karnaka to track down the members of this little group who performed a ritual that brought Delilah back to life. And she has powers that allow her to do crazy shit like this because she's a witch and also has an army of witches who you have to fight throughout this game and the first DLC of the first game. She wants revenge on the family as she claims that she's technically Emily's aunt and the throne rightfully belongs to her or whatever, but there's a chance she might be lying. I don't know, man, it's a confusing story. And I've been playing this game for years now and I still don't know all the details, so I recommend you watch an explanation video or something, or just play the game yourself because maybe you're smarter than me and I'm just fucking stupid and can't figure shit out. So the general gist is that this group of prolapsed anuses resurrect Delilah so they can have all the unlimited power in the world and take over or whatever. And it's up to you to stop them by brutally murdering all of them. Or you can non-lethal them like in the first game, but one of the options is to erase all knowledge and all education from a guy's brain, which renders him basically brain dead. So I guess it's up to you which of these options is better. Similar to last time, I have very little to say about this game's story. I kinda just recommend that you play it yourself. I've heard a lot of people get negative about this game's story, but I don't know, I think it's pretty solid. They could have done more with it considering this game kind of feels shorter than the first, but I enjoy what we got and I'll take Delilah as a main villain any day over that bland Kevin Spacey look-alike from the last game. But let's finally talk about what you're really here for.
How many of your own subjects are you ready to slaughter?
Dishonored 2's gameplay vastly improves on just about every aspect from the original. It doesn't strip away any of the powers, it only adds new ones to the prior existing ones. This game actually provides two entirely unique power sets. Like I said, you can either play as Corvo or Emily. I will now talk about both of these. I guess I'll start with Corvo since his powers are pretty similar to the first game. As to be expected, Corvo's first power is the Blink, an ability that allows you to teleport to your heart's content. Or at least as far as it can reach, I guess. It also depends on your mana a little bit, which is a whole nother thing. Then he has the ability to bend time, which just slows everyone down a little bit, but once fully upgraded, it can freeze time completely. Then he has Dark Vision, which if you've ever played Arkham before, it's that. But this one allows you to see their field of vision, which is pretty cool. I can't fucking lie to y'all, I always forget this power even exists. Then he has Possession, which at first just works on animals, but can also be upgraded to possess real humans for like 2 seconds. And then there's Rat Swarm. You guys know Rat Swarm, come on. But most importantly, we have Emily's powers. Emily wasn't playable at all in the first game. I mean, obviously, she was a fucking child. And now that Emily has grown up and has received multiple training sessions and recited the oath or whatever, yada yada yada, now you're able to play as her, and honestly, I recommend it completely. Instead of having a standard blink, she has the Reach, which functions similar to our standard teleport over here, in the sense that you can look somewhere and then go there, but it works a little differently. As you can probably tell, it's more of a pull instead of an instant teleport, so that means you have to consider the context of your overall movement to properly teleport to where you want to go. But hey man, it can pick up things from really far away, that's pretty cool, right? Okay fine, you can pick up humans too. Of course she can also use Dark Vision, that's a given, but she has other unique abilities like Memorize, which puts your enemies in a trance-like state where they're completely unreactive. I could have sworn unreactive was a word, but I guess not. She also has a domino effect, which allows you to string multiple enemies together, so once you kill one of the fuckers, the other ones will soon follow, which is dope as hell. She can also clone herself with her doppelganger power, which will cause your enemies to attack your brain dead clone while you can sneak up on them and finish the job. But her craziest power has to be the Shadow Walk. She basically turns into the dude from the darkness. You can quickly move around with this ability, going completely unseen, or you can kill people with it, which is just about as fun as you'd expect. It's really hard for me to decide which character's powers I prefer. They're both sick as hell, and once you complete the game, you can start New Game Plus, which allows you to unlock both power sets at the same time. Of course, similar to the first game, you're heavily encouraged to play your way or whatever, whether that be slicing through every throat in the city or sticking to the shadows. Similar to the first game, there will be certain obstacles and encounters depending on how you play. For example, if you're on low chaos, you'll witness a healthy conversation go down at the docks. But if you're on high chaos, then Jason Statham over here will beat the fuck out of everybody. A few weeks ago, I saw someone on Twitter complaining about how the chaos system was the worst morality system they've ever seen because the good route isn't fun, but I think that's an entirely subjective thing. Some people like to go through and sneaky sleuth, while some people like you probably like to murder everybody, and there's no problem with either of those. For me personally, it really just depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm in the mood for murder, and sometimes I want to be a master ninja. I have multiple different paths and strategies for every level. I like to switch it up sometimes, it's fun. If you don't like the good options, then don't fucking do them, no one's forcing you to. The game encourages freedom and once again, playing your way, so just play your own way and shut the fuck up about it.
And if I combine the acid against a copper plate, what does it do?
Aside from all that, we have the return of the beloved crossbow, and I guess the gun is also here too. Because I think the gun is my least favorite part of the game. It's never practical and sometimes it just misses people entirely. The only time it's ever useful is if a bunch of enemies are attacking you at once. But even then, if you just had the Wind Blast power unlocked, you can knock them down and just stab them all to death. Karnaca is the most beautiful, ugly city I've ever seen. It's filled with so much life and also so much death. Every corner has something fucked around it waiting specifically for you, and I absolutely love that detail. I think this city puts the dark and repetitive nature of Dunwall to shame. And this bustling city offers unique paths and encounters for your playthrough. There's so much shit in this first area alone that I used to spend hours exploring it. Sure, you could just go straight to your objective and finish the level, or you can sneak through a blood fight infested building, Jesus fucking Christ, or you could even go to the merchants and accidentally meet a random lady who asks you to sneak into a 3rd floor of a heavily guarded high overseer building, go steal a dead fucking body, and bring it back to her. I think I might have just aided a necrophiliac, and that's the point I'm really trying to hammer home, that you can basically do whatever you want in this game. You can help a necrophiliac because while I might not know what she's gonna do with that body, I do know that she gave me a new path to take, and that's pretty sick. This game is similar to that of a From Software game. It's packed to the fucking brim with so much side content and explorable areas that the game doesn't even fucking care if you see any of it. You can literally do nothing in this game, not collect a single rune, not explore a single area or use a single power, and the game will just keep chugging on like, okay, whatever you say, you fucking dipshit. I mean, it literally gives you the option to reject the powers from the beginning. Like, this is what player freedom is, motherfucker. That's what it is! But honestly, just about every level in this game is unique and exciting. There's only like 8 or 9, but they all leave lasting impressions. One of my personal favorites is the crack in the slab. People always like to bust fat nuts all over the second half of this level, but I think the first half has earned some love too. You find a large door that's locked with a specific code, so you have to either go to the High Overseers and help them track down this magic gangster, or you can help the magic gangster kidnap the High Overseer. The gangsters reside in a super run down part of the town that just has constant fucking sandstorms, and the High Overseer's just chilling in his office that's surrounded by like 100 fucking men. Or you could just say a big fat fuck you to both of these dudes and kill them all. Kill them all. Kill them all. But once inside, you find this very rundown mansion with a very insane man inside of it. He's one of the members who summoned Delilah, and it's up to you to travel back in time to that night to see what happened. Yes, my friend, fucking time travel. You have this thing called the timepiece, which allows you to jump between like 4 different timelines, all with unique aesthetics in their little secrets to uncover. You have to use the timepiece to successfully traverse this mansion and save this man from whatever made him go crazy that night. It's amazing. I'm so tired of hearing people talk about Titanfall 2 and how game-changing its time travel mechanic was, when Dishonored 2 did the same shit in the same fucking year. Another mission I want to highlight is the famous and very beloved Clockwork Mansion. I don't think this level will ever stop being fun in my life. There's almost an infinite amount of ways you can beat this level. If you don't know, this level is completely interchangeable. You just pull a lever and the shit starts fucking moving. You can make your way through the main hallways, or you can sneak into the fucking walls and make your way through the building undetected. Speaking of Yendosh, he's the Lex Luthor wannabe super genius who built this fucking insane house. This slimy fuck is one of the most pretentious and annoying villains in the entire franchise, and I just love him to death. And aside from these very special levels, the game design is just perfect all around. The city is so easily traversable. You can go straight, you can go up, you can go under sometimes. Point is, the game never limits your playstyle. Now let's blink our way towards the conclusion. What a shitty fucking joke. In conclusion, I think Dishonored 2 absolutely masters everything it sets out to do. It's one of the strongest stealth experiences in the last decade. It improves on the original in so many ways that I think I might honestly prefer it ever so slightly. There's so much to love about this game that I could easily talk about it for hours. I'll probably end up making more videos about this game in the future, just about like specific topics, because there's so much shit to cover. Not only is this game a perfect sequel, I think it also completely perfected stealth.
We'll be face to face soon. Delilah.